Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today we're going to talk player character races, the Elf. Thanks again to Easy Roller Dice for sponsoring this series of videos. You can jump down to the description and find a link to check out their awesome selection of dice, as well as find a discount code to get yourself an excellent set of dice. So today we're going to be talking about the elf. And not just the elves, the kinds of elf that make toys, but elves like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, or Drizzt from the Dark Elf series of books by R.A. Salvatore. You should play an elf if you want to be nimble. Elves get a +2 to dexterity, so they're really fast on their feet, good with their hands, quick. Also, elves can see in the dark, and they're proficient in perception, which, if you're adventuring, perception is one of those nearly must-have skills to spot traps or enemies or things like that. You'd be resistant to charm spells. You're like, I'm Fae, we invented charm spells. Being an elf also is going to make you immune to magical sleep effects, and you only need to sleep 4 hours, because everyone knows that elves like to party. Also, as a consequence of your 700-year-plus lifespan, you're not really super attached to current events. You have a really long view on history and how things unfold, and this is just sort of what's happening right now. And that was like 100 years ago. If you want to go read up on elves further, you can check out page 21 of the player's handbook. When you decide to play an elf, you can choose to be a high elf, a wood elf, or a drow elf. And each one of these choices is going to give you a slightly different set of traits as an elf. High elves are the most commonly associated with magic. And then they're also kind of known for being the most stuck up and snooty sort of elves. But really, if you look at the description of any of the elves, it says this race can tend to be a jerk sometimes. As a high elf, you get a bonus to intelligence in addition to your dexterity bonus. You're trained in elfy weapons like a long short sword, the short bow or long bow. And you also know how to cast one low-level spell known as a cantrip that you can cast pretty much whenever you want. It also gives you an additional language. And as an elf, you're going to make a pretty good wizard or rogue type character. And then the wood elves are the more closer to nature sort of elves. They tend to live in big, verdant, lush forests. You're going to get a +1 to your wisdom score. You're also trained in all those elfy weapons. You're a little faster than most adventurers. You have a movement speed of 35 feet, which if you were to take the mobile feat and then choose a class that's highly mobile, you're going to be able to zip all over the battlefield. You're also really good at hiding in natural surroundings and environments. The wood elf is going to do really well being a ranger, a rogue, a monk, or even a druid. But personally, I think it would be a whole lot of fun to play just a crazed Fae wood elf barbarian. And now lastly, you have those evil bastard elves, the drow. Between Drizzt and just all the people that friggin' love drow, they had to be included in the player's handbook. So with the drow, evil is sexy. They get a +1 to charisma. You do get greater dark vision than most of the other player races in the player's handbook, but it comes at the cost that you're at a disadvantage in direct sunlight when you're adventuring around during, say, daylight hours of operation. You get some spell casting, such as dancing lights, fairy fire, and darkness, that as you level, you get access to more of these abilities, which is cool because it ties into some of the earlier editions of the game, and also a lot of the novels that involve drow. Drow have innate spell casting ability. You also gain proficiency in dark elfy sort of weapon. Rapiers, short swords, hand crossbows, the kinds of things that you could imagine smearing poison across and then stabbing somebody with. That's what the drow get access to. Drow also make excellent sorcerers, bards, or warlocks, or even you could probably have a go with making a paladin drow. And you could either do the sort of redeemed paladin, or you could be the knight of some unholy god, perhaps. So once again, I want to give a massive thank you to Easy Roller Dice. You can go check them out in the description below. If you're a new player, you can put all of your questions down in the comments below, and the fantastic Nerdarchy community. Thanks again to Easy Roller Dice. So definitely go check them out for sponsoring this series of videos. If you have any questions as a new player, be sure to put them down in the comments below. The fantastic Nerdarchy community will help you out, I'm sure. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay nerdy.